Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. This week, I have a special guest with us. His name is Spencer. I can't wait for him to share with you who he is, what he's all about, and especially his business. So, with that said, Spencer, I wanted to give you a big, warm welcome from the Tony Shap Show and welcome.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you, Tony.
Same here. We're super excited to have you, and I know you're going to deliver some jam-packed value to our listeners, whether if they're watching this on YouTube or listening to podcasts as you're driving or working or working out and stuff like that. So, as with that said, let's start with the one word open. What's the one word you could use to describe how you're feeling right now as we kick it off?
Focused.
Awesome, perfect. And let's go right into your business. So, tell us about your business, the story, how you got started, like your why, and then how they evolved to where you are today and where you're going.
Sure. So the business is, how you classify cliently. It's a sales engagement tool, which is really meant to help salespeople from everything from a BDR, business development rep, to SDR and account executives work with their contacts in a more personalized and efficient way. The reason it got started is before this, I was with another SaaS called PandaDoc. I was a very early employee there, helped scale those processes, and from there learned a lot about what was sort of missing with the tools that were out there today to help different salespeople be able to do the things I mentioned, whether that was engaging new prospects, whether that was working with clients they had within their sales cycles, etc. And so I left there about 4 years ago and founded Cliently to start that journey.
That's awesome. That's interesting how you saw a need and you improvement areas and you launched Cliently. That's really awesome. So let's talk about a recent win. Is there something that you're proud of in business context that you want to share with us and what you learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't necessarily, you can always talk about a recent win with bringing on new big clients, and we've had a couple of those lately. But I think what would be more interesting, which is a little bit of a more long-term win, was Cliently the first couple of years we struggled to get off the ground because of not just having the right pieces in place, and it really kept making us go backwards. Essentially, really the biggest thing that we did in succeeding in the early stages was to stay in business. So about a couple of years ago, we really went back and focused on the people we brought into the team. Brought back a couple of early hires that I had in PandaDoc, got some referrals from some of our investors, including Active Capital, to help bring in the right tech talent. And so I'd really say the biggest win is sort of reshaping the team over the last 2 years to ones that have had the not only the skill set, but the experience working for in different roles for other successful SaaS companies. And that's really reshaped our company.
That's beautiful. Let's talk about the other side of that. So what's something that's not a win, unfortunately, that you experienced and you can share with us, that way our audience listening, whether if they're a founder, an investor, or looking to start something up, or just general value that you could deliver. What's something that didn't go as planned, and what did you learn from it, Spencer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would probably go back to parts of the story I just mentioned in developing the product. It seemed to be always, one step forward and three steps backwards. Being a sole founder, didn't have, unfortunately, that technology partner. And when you're building a SaaS, which is technology based, that can be really difficult. Now we have, a great CTO, a great senior engineer in place, and so in terms of where we made mistakes is probably not investing enough time and resources to finding the right people to start the company. And what happens with that is you're still it's not just getting the right people in place and everything's fixed. You're going to have some technical debt just to get back to an even playing field there. And so a big learn for us was making sure you had the right people from the technology side out of the gate. Really, really important.
Excellent. What do you think is, from your experience, Spencer? What do you think is the biggest breakthrough a company would have or should have to go from $100,000 MRR to 1 million? Like, what do you think that I know it could be many different things and it's all many different variables, but because I'm just kind of asking a lot of leaders like yourself, like, what is that one thing that it takes for someone going from 100K MRR to seven figures MRR in terms of mindset and when it comes to that leader that's in charge? What do you think that is?
I mean, I think it's the same thing in terms of when you look at it, look for investment at the beginning stages of a company. At the very beginning stages, you're trying to sell that you have a vision, an idea that people can sort of latch onto. And as you get to, and as your company grows, becomes more mature, gets clients, gets people evangelizing it, it sort of has a dynamic that switches to where now people are coming to you. And it's the same thing for, I think, that 100 grand to get to that million plus is all of a sudden you've turned that corner to now where people need your product, they know about your product, people are talking about your product. Of course, there's a lot of other things in terms of implementation that have to go into that, but you've turned that point to show that there's a product that's pretty viable. And so it's making sure at that point you get the right exposure, but you now have a product that people have shown they want. And so it's just making sure you get in front of enough people, really.
That's beautiful. I mean, also in addition to that, I was interviewing someone yesterday, and she said that being a professional delegator, that's when you cross that that 7 figure number, you have to be a professional delegator if it makes sense for your business, right? Most, generally speaking. So, but
No,
I appreciate, yeah.
yeah, I was just saying, I think that's a good point. I think, if you want to talk about, hey, where do different people struggle, including myself, and I'm sure a lot of founders, because you have to be so hands-on at the beginning because literally you're trying to push a rock up a mountain. And if you're not pushing it, it falls. And so once you cross that point to be able to try to switch sort of the way that you've been doing things, it's tough to loosen that control. So absolutely, that makes sense.
Awesome. So if you got someone that's just launching a product, whether it's an actual product or a SaaS, and they're just on the tip of launching and they're sitting on the fence, and let's just say they just launched today. So what type of person would you be able to help with Cliently? Like, who's your perfect fit?
And as far as Cliently goes, really our perfect fit is any business to business that has a sales team. We can help, new companies as well, but really where our focus is on sales teams. It's ones that are looking to do what we call multiple engagement. And what I mean by that, what Cliently does is we help people engage with not just email, but video messaging, physical items, handwritten notes, postcards, gift cards, and doing it all at scale. Because today there's so many emails that everybody is getting. So it's actually sort of done a 180 where before it was so easy to send an email and get someone's attention. Now there's so many, you've got to do other ways to get in front of them. And then the other thing that we do is what we call real-time engagement, which is giving salespeople a brand new way, something that's not been done. We just launched it maybe 8, 9 months ago. We haven't really gone to market hard with it yet, but a brand new view of who is focusing and engaging with you right now, and being able to know where I'm going to spend my time as a salesperson today. And this can even, be something important if you're, a solopreneur right now, starting your business because you have only so much time in a day. Where do you focus that time? And I'm a big believer in automating as many things as possible, and our tool does that. But you use that real-time engagement to know who's engaging with you the most. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, Tony, but hopefully I touched on it a little bit.
No, that was wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted, because that way, someone who's listening now, they can understand like exactly how you help, and especially if they're B2B. And let's just say that that person just got an $8 million injection, and then now they got these SDRs, and they need pipeline, they need follow up, they need engagement, and that's when they're going to reach out to you. That's perfect. So let's speaking of that. So how can our listeners get a hold of you? How can they connect with you?
I probably should be more proactive with social media. For right now, I would always say you can reach out to me via email, spencer@cliently.com. I do try to, first off, I'm always learning more as well from others that have made it farther to where we are. But I'm also, try to work with mentoring at least, 1 or 2 people when I can that are starting their businesses, so that they can hopefully avoid some of the mistakes that I made. But spencer@cliently.com is a really good place to reach out to me.
Perfect. And here we are at the end. What's the one word close you could use to sign off with?
It's 2 words. Still focused. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Awesome. Spencer, thank you so much for coming on to the Tony Shap Show. And thanks for giving us that value. I think it's going to be an eye opener for a lot of listeners that are either getting into business, and they could have that vision of when they get to that level, if they're trying to go from and also the people going from 6 figure MRR to 7 figures. That was a huge value piece that you gave them, and they could listen to and walk away from. So I can't wait to have you back on the show sometime soon just to catch up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks, Spencer.